Hello and welcome to the first CUFI weekly of 2026. And what a year this is shaping up to be. The United States will celebrate its bicentennial, 250 years since the Declaration of Independence. Now, you may have seen in the news recently that the United States conducted a very successful operation to apprehend Nicolas Maduro, the dictator of Venezuela. And while this happened in Latin America, doesn't border Israel at all, isn't directly related to Israel, that did not stop one Candace Owens from blaming the Zionists, because apparently, in her words, the Zionists cheer on every regime change.
Now, she has Israel on the brain, as always. She says in her tweet, the CIA has staged another hostile takeover of a country at the behest of a globalist psychopaths. Then she goes on to identify the alleged globalist psychopaths, Zionists. She says there has never been a single regime change that Zionists have not applauded because it means they get to steal land, oil, and other resources.
That's not actually true. I don't think they were cheering on the overthrow of the Shah of Iran and that being replaced by the Islamic Republic, which we stand with the brave people of Iran as they fight against the regime in this moment as I'm talking. Look, at the end of the day, a person like Candace, who I'm frankly tired of talking about, but she has a following of millions and people hang on every word like she's some sort of expert. Somehow in her media career, she's become an expert on everything from race relations to Judaism to global politics. But then you start looking into it. You start asking questions, as she would say, and you see there is a lot of opinion thrown in as truth. A lot of lies basically made to seem like they're factual because you draw different comparisons. And then, of course, we have Tucker Carlson, who recently said that Israel is not that important to America, and it shouldn't be. Now, here's the thing that really bothers me. If you have an opinion, fine. But when you state it as fact without giving any actual facts, you give half-truths, that's problematic. The other thing, which I find really kind of interesting, is you claim to be America first. You claim, Christ is king, yet you're completely silent about Christian persecution. No, actually worse, you hide and obscure the situation of Christian persecution. You talk about being America first, but then talking about buying a property in Qatar. Surely it would be better to invest in America if you are America first. I will always remind people that in the lawsuit which was filed against Tucker Carlson for defamation, when he left Fox News, the defense, which was accepted by the judge, was that no reasonable person would listen to Tucker Carlson and see his views as news. It's entertainment. And sadly, we now take entertainment for fact. Entertainment has become news. Entertainment has become conspiracy theory. But this is having deadly ramifications. Spiraling anti-Semitism, attacks on Jewish places of worship, Jewish communities, Jewish events. You saw the horrific events in Australia. Nothing happens in a vacuum. I'm just asking questions that they will say, but they won't answer these questions. They will obscure them with more hatred, with more bigotry, with more, oh, you can't criticize Israel without being anti-Semitic. 100% you can. But you can't be anti-Semitic and not be called anti-Semitic. It's not a defense. A defense to anti-Semitism is not saying that you can't criticize Israel without being anti-Semitic. This tired narrative, I'm just asking questions. Well, the answers to your questions are out there. You're not actually asking questions. You're on an agenda-driven mission. And that agenda-driven mission is hurting actual people. It's actually tearing the fabric of American society, which you say you care about so much. It is actually turning its back on Scripture itself, which you claim to champion. Actions speak louder than words, and when people are behaving as vile human beings, where they are not upholding the words of Christ, rather they engage in malicious attacks, spewing hatred. So as we enter into 2026, with this same cancerous rhetoric growing in the conservative movement as in 2025, I ask every single one of you to be on guard and to speak out. Because silence is not an option. As America enters into its 250th year of existence, we have to ask ourselves, what kind of country do we want? One that is true to our values, or one which is dictated by propagandists, people who see division and hatred as a way for them to profit? The choice is ours. What kind of country do we leave for our children and our grandchildren? And I believe that we will do the right thing, but it takes every single one of us to speak up. This is Kasim Hafiz for the CUFI Weekly. For Zion's sake, do not remain silent. Thanks for checking out this episode. Be sure to like and subscribe so you get a notification every time a new episode hits. And if you want to check out some of our previous episodes, and we've got some really good ones, click on one of the thumbnails and that will take you right there. And finally, if you want to know more about CUFI and the work we do, go to CUFI.org to check out all the resources we have available free to you.